everyone, Miko here with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. Thank you for joining us for our free Wednesday Zoom calls. Here you're watching on YouTube, but you could also join us on Wednesday. If you're interested in the link to these calls to join live, feel free to send us an email at info@behavioranalystsupervisor.com. You can also just check out our Instagram. We post questions every single day on Instagram. We also post the link to our free Zoom calls. Every Wednesday, we go through a different task list item area, such as A1. We'll talk a little bit about that task list item, and then we'll go through 3 mock exam questions relating to that task list area. We hope that this provides an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the task list and also dive deep into question dissection. We here at Behavior Analyst Supervisor really focus on providing explanations on why an answer is correct and why it's also incorrect. So we appreciate that you joined us. If you have any questions throughout the duration of this video, feel free to shoot us an email, hit that like and subscribe button for more information. Also, you can always leave a comment and we'll be sure to reach back out to you. Thanks again, and I'm Miko with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. You'll also be hearing from Amy and Kevin. Talk to you soon.
All right, hi everyone. Welcome to our free Wednesday Zoom. Today, we're gonna be talking through MOs, SDs, how to discriminate these in a scenario. Before we get started, just a couple of announcements. We'll be giving away a free mini mock at the end. So if you stick around, you have a chance to win a free mini mock. If you've already won that free mini mock, you will get a free tutoring session with none other than myself. So I'll get to hop on with you, talk through some concepts, and do that. We here at Behavior Analyst Supervisor are here to support you. So if you ever have questions, please feel free to email us. We post these calls, the recordings of these on YouTube. So if you find them helpful, share them with a colleague. We also have a free question dissection, a full 4 hours on our YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out as well. And then I'll have some more announcements towards the tail end, but let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes, as Kevin likes to say. Also, it says I'm Kevin because I'm in his Zoom account. I'm not really Kevin, I'm Miko. So cool. We're talking about G2, use interventions based on motivating operations and discriminative stimuli. I thought instead of really talking through the different types of MOs and SDs and all that, we would spend our about 15 to 30 minutes. It's really like 20 minutes of going through stuff. And then towards the tail end, we have some more announcements. But I figured we would use our time really talking through how to discriminate these in a scenario. But I think it is important to know what an MO is versus what an SD is. So generally speaking, an MO is something that increases or decreases the value of a reinforcer, right? So for example, if I'm in the desert, water is more valuable, right? So being in the desert is the MO for water. Again, being in the desert would make water more valuable. That's an establishing operation. Establishing means it increases in value. The words that go with establishing operations are deprived, limited, restricted. All of those words tell me that I could be in a state of deprivation, meaning that I need that reinforcer more. So that's an EO. An AO is an abolishing operation. So I just ate dinner, y'all. I had a banh mi. If you've never had one, you should check them out. They're really, really good. So after eating a banh mi, I don't need food anymore, right? So that would mean I'm in a state of satiation. I've had plenty of food. I don't need any more. And so that creates an abolishing operation, making food less valuable. So that's an abolishing operation. Those are value altering effects. We also have behavior altering effects, and I do want to touch on those for just a second because I know those can get a bit confusing. So value altering simply means that the value of the reinforcer is increased or decreased, whereas behavior altering means that I do more of the behavior, right? So let's go back to our desert example. If I'm in the desert, I'm walking around, I'm certainly going to be thirsty. If I don't have a water bottle, it's just an establishing operation. If I have a water bottle, I'm probably going to drink more, meaning that it is a evocative effect. It's a behavior altering. It increases my drinking behavior, evocative effect. Same thing. If I'm just ate dinner, food is less valuable, so I'm definitely an abolishing operation. If no one presents me with food, then my food eating behavior doesn't decrease, right? It just, food isn't valuable. Now, if I, go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and then I gorge myself, as they say, and then I go to the dessert counter and I'm so full that I don't eat any desserts, that becomes an abative effect, meaning that my eating behavior has directly decreased due to that MO, or the AE, I guess, the abative effect that's in place. So that's a difference there. There's also condition motivating operations. I'll just touch briefly about them. We don't have any questions on them, but if you're confused about these or you have a question, feel free to send us an email. But there's 3 types of condition motivating operations. There is a CMOT, which is condition motivating operation transitive. Transitive stands for tool. So if there's this is a real life example. Sorry if you're on my Tuesday, Thursday calls, you know exactly what I'm going to say here. But I had a party at my house for one of the Michigan games, and I'm trying to watch football, and I have this big TV. We use a projector outside, but the projector wasn't working because it was daylight. So I brought the TV outside, and I hooked it up so we could watch the game and all this stuff. And I figure out that the volume is on 3, and so I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to turn the volume up. Well, this is the only TV in all of ever that is made without a volume button. So there's no volume button to turn the TV up. So I needed a remote, didn't have a remote. That remote became a CMOT. It was more reinforcing than the TV itself because I needed the remote to make the TV work. So I had to go, long story short, went to Target, got a universal remote. Party ended up being fine, watched the game. Michigan lost, so that wasn't fine, but moral of the story, make sure you have a remote. That's a CMOT. A CMOR, or reflexive, is a signal that conditions are getting worse or better. A lot of people forget that it's bettering. So its conditions are getting worse or better. Again, it could be your boss who gives you too much work, right? So when you see them, you know you're going to get more work. That's a CMOR. Or it could be, say you're going to the movies and the showing is at 7 o'clock. 6:30 can be a CMOR. It means you're going to get that reinforcer that you really want. Watching, the newest can't say the name. The newest movie that's out. So that's a CMOR. And the last one is a CMOS. This is surrogate. It means there's some pairing. Remember, CMOs come before their antecedents. So it's not pairing with a reinforcer necessarily. It's pairing to create a state of satiation or deprivation. For example, if I am around a learner all the time, whenever it's mealtime, eventually them seeing me is going to make them hungry, right? Because I'm around when they're hungry. I'm around when it's time to eat. That's an antecedent. If I pair myself with like their favorite game, I'm just a condition reinforcer. I'm not a condition motivating operation. So that's important to know the difference. All right, and then let me go to the next slide real quick. Oh, sorry, and let me stay on this slide for a second. And then I don't know why I have antecedents in here. But anyways, and then discriminative stimuli, SDs, these are things that signal that reinforcement is available. So if I am driving down the road and I see Chick-fil-A, that's an SD. It tells me that reinforcement is available. If I see it on a Sunday, that's an S delta. For those of you who don't have Chick-fil-A where you're at, Chick-fil-A is only open on Monday through Saturday, not on Sundays. So if I see it on a Sunday, it's an S delta. Now, just because it's an SD doesn't mean my behavior increases or decreases, right? If I'm not hungry, if there's no MO, I'm not going to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to continue on my happy way. It's only an SD. It's nothing else, right? If I am hungry, then I'm going to see the SD and I'm going to engage in the behavior. Just like another example, right? The light on your fridge where you get ice means that ice is available. Now, the SD just tells me ice is available. If I don't want ice, it's still an SD, but I'll just get water instead, right? And so know that SD does not mean that you always engage in the behavior. You could see an SD and walk right by. It just signals that reinforcement is available. I guess here's some extra information. These are some common antecedent interventions, FCT, high P, PREMAC, and NCR. We're not going to talk through these. I'm not sure why I put these in here, so let's go ahead and skip it. Okay, so SD versus MO. Again, SD tells me reinforcement is available. MO impacts the value of that reinforcement. We went through that ad nauseum. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself now and ask away. If you don't have any questions, that's totally okay. You can always email us. But again, MO comes before a behavior and it signals that reinforcement is available. MO comes before a behavior and increases the value of the reinforcer, and SD tells me that the reinforcer is available. Now, there doesn't have to be an SD for an MO to work. And there also doesn't have to be an SD for me to engage in the behavior, right? Because I can walk right by Chick-fil-A, even though it's there. So let's go ahead and jump into some questions. What I want to do here, more than just answering the questions, I really want to work through them. So I want to work through them. So let's do that together. All right, y'all. And I'll answer the questions in the chat in about like 5 minutes as soon as we finish this up. But here we go. You are dying of thirst due to your lack of water throughout the day. You walk down the hall to the Gatorade machine, throw in a dollar bill and enjoy an ice cold, cool blue Gatorade because that's the only color anyone should ever drink. Seeing the Gatorade machine likely functions as an MO, an EO, an S delta, or an SD. Which of those do you think it is? Go ahead and throw your answers in the chat. When we see probably about like 5, I already see some answers coming in, but when we get like 2 more, I'll go ahead and talk through this. Cool. The trick here is to really use your 4-term contingency whenever you get these types of questions on an exam. So what you're trying to do is find I like to find the behavior first, because that's usually the easiest thing for me to do. So the behavior here, or the behavior I want to engage in, is drinking, right? Drinking. What's the reinforcement? Well, the Gatorade is the reinforcement, right? So what signals? I'm looking for the SD here, right? Or I'm not. I'm looking for what the Gatorade function is. Just gave away the answer. It's the SD, because the Gatorade machine signals that Gatorade is available. So the Gatorade machine would be an SD. Yes. Let's not stop there. Let's go ahead and look through the rest and see what they would be. The S delta in this scenario would be the absence of the Gatorade machine, or if the Gatorade machine was unplugged, that could also be an S delta. SD again signals that Gatorade is available. S delta signals Gatorade is not available. Let's see, is there an EO? Yes, there's an EO here. Your thirst due to your lack of water, or the lack of water creates an establishing operation, meaning that water is more valuable. So the lack of water creates an EO. Is there an MO? Yes, there's also an MO. I did this on purpose. If you get a scenario and this said like, what is the lack of water? And you have MO and EO. Both of those answers are technically correct. You should be choosing the answer that is most right. In this case, the most right answer would be EO. It is more specific than MO. So again, if it asked you what the lack of water caused, it would be an EO. So that's that. But again, the Gatorade machine itself is an SD. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next one here. It looks very similar, but it's a little different. You drink an ice cold Gatorade, which does wonders to quench your thirst. You see another Gatorade machine down the hall. The site of the second Gatorade machine likely functions as a or an SD, S delta, AO, or EO. Which one? Throw your answers in the chat. So you drink an ice cold Gatorade, which does wonders to quench your thirst. You see another Gatorade machine down the hall. The site of the second Gatorade machine functions as a or an SD, S delta, AO, or EO. Well, hopefully I made this clear to you. The second Gatorade machine is still an SD. A is the answer. I hope I wasn't too confusing here. Because I don't drink it doesn't mean that it's not an SD. It still signals Gatorade is available. I just don't have, I do not have an establishing operation, meaning I'm likely not going to engage in the behavior of drinking a Gatorade. So the site is a SD, and S delta would be no Gatorade machine or the Gatorade machine being off. There is an AO here. You're drinking of the Gatorade. You're there's an abolishing operation because you drank Gatorade. So there is an abolishing operation here. There's no EO in effect, and that's the reason you're not engaging in the behavior. When we think about incidental teaching and man training in general, we know that we use motivating operations in order to encourage behavior. If there is no MO likely you're not going to engage in the behavior. And that's why we try to create states of deprivation in order to evoke mans. Think about giving a learner a cracker before having them man for water. The cracker is going to cause their throat to be dry, which is going to increase those mans for cracker. So that's why we do that. Miss Christina, you have a question. Or Christine, sorry.
I do. I put an AO because you already drank the Gatorade. So wouldn't that make you not want to have the Gatorade?
So drinking the Gatorade could be an AO, but remember the question asked the site of the second Gatorade machine functions as. So seeing the Gatorade machine is still going to be an SD regardless of if you engage in the behavior or not, right? Think about, let's go back to the fridge example. The light on the fridge tells me that I can get ice. If I fill my cup, I don't need ice. So my full cup is an AO. The light on the fridge still tells me ice is available. So there can be an SD present and an AO present. And that just means you're not going to engage in the behavior, right? So there can still be an SD even if you don't engage in the behavior. Driving down the road, I see Chick-fil-A. I'm not hungry. I just drive by it. And abolishing operation caused the behavior, but the site of the Chick-fil-A itself is still an SD. Does that make sense?
So it would have to say something like, you drank so much Gatorade, you don't want any more.
Or even if it said drinking the Gatorade likely functions as. That would be an AO, right? Drinking the Gatorade functions as an AO. Yeah, good question.
But it's just the machine itself is what you wanted. Okay.
Exactly. Yep, perfect. All right, let's look at another one, my friends. This is about my dog. This is a true story. Actually, my neighbor lets him out and he does play catch with him. So Kai enjoys playing fetch with his owner. His owner has been on vacation for a few days and the dog sitter refuses to play fetch. The owner arrives back home and Kai immediately requests to play fetch. What does the owner's vacation function as? Is it a neutral stimulus, an MO, an EO, or an AO? Again, go ahead and throw your answers in the chat. All right, I see some answers in the chat, so we're all good. All right, so let's look through the scenario again. Kai enjoys playing fetch. His owner has been on vacation. So the owner is probably an SD, right? The owner signals that I can play catch. The absence of the owner is an S delta. The owner being gone, right? What is the owner's vacation? The owner's vacation means the owner has been gone for a while, which is going to create an EO. So the answer here is CEO. There's an establishing operation in effect for fetch because I've been deprived of it. I haven't had a lot of it, right? Limited access. So there's an EO here. It's also an MO, but again, I want you to pick the most specific answer. EO is more specific than MO. That's why the answer here is EO. It's not neutral stimulus. Maybe like the pet sitter at first is a neutral stimulus, but eventually the pet sitter is going to be an S delta, meaning that fetch is not available. And then an AO would be if I played fetch with him all the time, right? I go outside, play fetch with him for like 30 minutes. That's going to be an AO, abolishing operation. Cool. So that's how we like to break those down. I want you to go literally with your 4-term contingency. If you need to write it in your whiteboard, do that. If you need to use the comment section, do that. But break it down, take your time. And these are a little bit easier to understand if you really break it down. If you need more practice, you can always feel free to email me. I'm happy to jump on like a 5-minute, 10-minute call with y'all, talk through it. We're happy to do that. I want to go just to our website just for a hot second so I can show you some things. And then I have some pretty cool announcements. So as soon as this loads, I should have had this loaded beforehand. I'm slacking, y'all. Okay, there is, if you go to BCBA exam prep here, you will see a number of things. Mostly I want you to see the calendar. So this tells what we're going over. Like today, we went over, we went over G-2. Next week, we'll be going over F8, conduct a functional analysis. Probably what I'll do next week is instead of actually talking about how an FA is ran, I'll spend the time talking about the different types of FAs and we'll have questions relating to being able to discriminate between the different types of FAs. So that's what we'll do next week. Hope you join us. These Tuesday and Thursday things are for our all you need folks. So here you can see our different packages. The all you need package, we have like a study group on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We've done the entire task list, so it's recorded. And now what we'll start doing is we will still go through the task list, but it's going to be more of a study group. I'll answer questions. We'll go through like a topic of the day and really spend some time diving deep into certain topics. So that way people really understand the hard things. But a couple of those announcements that I just wanted to share. We did an ethics boot camp, which was like an intensive on ethics, and it was a very popular. And so we'll be doing another one of those on September 4th. But we're going to start doing intensives in general. So on October 29th, it's the Michigan State game. So we're hoping for a 2:30 start time. Anyways, we'll be doing a Section B intensive. So feel free to join us for that. If you don't have the package, they're $20. If you do have the package, it's free. Come on. We're also adding an additional mock exam towards the end of this month to that package. So instead of just 2 mocks, there'll be 3 mocks in the all you need package. And we'll also be adding an audio mock. If you don't have any of the packages or you don't want to purchase the package, that's totally okay. You can still send us an email and we'll help you out. Or if you want to buy those things individually, you can do that too. So ultimately, we just want y'all to know that we are here to support you. So does anyone have questions? Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask. And then
I do.
Yes.
I just did horrible with all of those. I thought I had it down. So is there any way you could write more questions for like a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Wednesday? Because I do everything. Or I don't know if anybody else on here is struggling, or I can just email you, but I did not do great on those at all.
Yeah, I definitely think that doing them on a Tuesday, Thursday is going to be great. So what I'll do, Christine, can you send me an email to mine, Nico@behavioranalystsupervisor.com, and I'll write a few and we can go over them. I probably won't have them written by tomorrow, but next Tuesday we can go over those. And then the other thing, if this type of setting where there's multiple people, you don't have as much time to ask individual questions is difficult. We do offer group tutoring. So if there's multiple people that struggle with something, send us an email and we can get y'all linked up. Group tutoring is like $35 an hour. But again, we'll do it on our Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm always happy to jump into a 10-minute Zoom call with you. So just send me an email, okay?
Okay.
Cool. And don't feel bad. This stuff is difficult. It took me forever to get the concept, but once you get it, it'll click. It's just like compound schedules. I probably spent way more hours than I needed to studying compound schedules because it wouldn't click. And I got to my test and I had like 1 compound schedule question, but it was just something that was difficult for me. And so I got hung up on it. However, once I learned it, it clicked and that was pretty easy to understand. So cool.